Hi, and welcome to this latest conversation video. Today, I'm joined by Rachel Toms. Rachel is a qualified solicitor, a legal marketing specialist, and a LinkedIn coach. And she's the owner and founder of Orion Legal Marketing. And today, we're going to chat about legal marketing to grow your practice. So, first, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. A real privilege to have you. Just tell us a bit about you, what you do, who you are.
Okay, well, my main role is about showing lawyers, barristers how to attract, engage, and retain their clients. I think it helps when you've got a legal background. You kind of know you've been on the cold, hard face.
Mhm.
You know what works, what doesn't, and you can talk the lingo. My background was as a dispute resolution lawyer. I did personal injury, clinical negligence, and contested probate. And I didn't know about you, like at bar school, but I didn't do marketing. I didn't learn marketing. But when I left the big city firms, because they would have marketing departments, so they would have all of those tips and tricks and they would know what to do. But when I wanted to go back to working in a smaller firm and work my way up to become partner, and I realized that I would need to be a rainmaker. I would need to find ways of attracting clients. So, typical lawyer, read a lot, watched a lot, absorbed a lot, and quickly built a client base from practical marketing strategies, sitting down and really thinking about who I want to attract and how I'm going to do that. I saw us got duped by when I worked in a few law firms by different marketing agencies. And one thing, I guess, again, the lawyer in me is that I never overpromise. If I can't do a particular service or if I can't work with you, then and if I can't get the results you're looking for, then that doesn't happen. I often think, well, I'm like a doctor because clients will email an inquiry through and they'll say, we want to grow our housing disrepair practice, for example. We want to do social media. We think that's going to work. And they think they know the solution. They've almost Googled it and self-diagnosed themselves, like they know what to do. But often when you start deep delving further and saying, who is your client? Where are they? What are they going to be listening to? What are they going to be doing? Well, actually, I'm going to write you a different prescription. So the one you thought you were walking into my surgery for is going to be completely different from what you get. But that's going to be the honest truth. That's going to be the proven route to success. So I really enjoy giving that kind of practical advice and helping, our clients. I'm incredibly proud. I've reached a stage now from leaving practice 10 years ago of the clients that we've got. I'm just so proud. It's just so proud to be aligned with them. I don't like to think that we're an external member of the team. I like to think that we're internal. We're part of X chambers, X law firm, etc. I also think, again, I don't know if this is unique, that my clients are like a family. I introduce them to each other. I help them because there could be conflicts on cases. There could be a whole number of things. So it's not just about working in silo. I think it's thinking outside the box and thinking about how you can do this. It's going to be marketing will be probably a whole number of things that you can do to be successful.
That's fantastic, Rachel. There's so much there we could unpick, certainly from, celebrating your the firm's success to becoming really integrated as part of the team and having that, which I know you espouse, that client-centric approach to marketing. In terms, let's get practical, in terms of some easy marketing wins. When you consult with firms, what are things that perhaps firms are not doing that could be just easy wins to start with?
I often think it's not always external marketing, and I say external marketing in terms of paying for search engine optimization, Google ads, etc. And it depends what the problem is. It might be that you're getting lots of inquiries and not converting them. I find the new inquiry process, if you did some secret shopping and if you got somebody to have a listen to, what that receptionist is like, what is the team player? I think again it goes back to basics, and sometimes not all I advise on is rocket science because it's just taking a moment and reflecting. But it's like, what is the process? Have we got a process? Have we got a procedure? who is the right person to be talking to this new inquiry? Have are they good at being able to form that instant rapport, or should we avoid that? So it's really assessing who is talking to that new inquiry, how you form that rapport. And again, that's sometimes a bit of training, but making the most of those opportunities, maximizing those. Again, when I've done numerous legal marketing trainings, follow up. Many lawyers do not follow up. So they think it's almost like, I've got the inquiry, it's mine. But they could be shopping around.
Mm.
Um, but if you, and sometimes price, again, there's ways of converting the conversation away from price. Because I think, as you and I both know, if we form that rapport and they feel that we understand their problem and that we can help them, price becomes irrelevant. That's something like proposals. I've often worked with a few law firms in terms of how they present their proposals. Um, Build that rapport, build that language, use the language that your client said to you and put it back at them so that you're talking the same way with them. So, these are not things that are going to cost the earth, but yet if you invest in the right training, follow up because
Mm.
you want the work. It shows you care and it shows you want to work with their clients. Absolutely no harm in following up. Again, having a process, maybe having a new business team if you're big enough, or having a dedicated person who might not be a lawyer to be able to do that.
No, that they're really helpful and really practical, and that, just thinking basics in terms of that first point of contact, follow up, rapport, and reflecting back in the language that somebody's coming to you with. That's so helpful. Lawyers are active on LinkedIn as a platform for legal marketing. I think it's a great place to be active. We see examples on there of some really great practice. We see examples of some not so great practice. I'm not here to shame anybody. Let's think of some practical things either firms or perhaps individual lawyers can do to use LinkedIn as an effective platform.
I think we touched on that earlier call, your brand you. So your brand you plus brand your firm. I think the starting point has got to be looking at your LinkedIn profile, your firm's profile. What does it say? Are you using a professional photo? Or is there you in a bar or you in a wood or a forest? Are you looking the part as a lawyer? You are an expensive service, so do you look that in terms? Do you have a good LinkedIn banner? I often see people missing that. For me, that's the space behind, instead of having that grey splurge going on. Are you telling people what they get from working with you? Where do you have a slogan? Do you have a motto? Do you have something that people instantly understand? Even getting the basics right, it's checking your team. It's their individual, it's difficult because it's their individual LinkedIn profile, but you could give firm guidelines. You could say this is ideally what we'd like you to have, but you couldn't enforce it. It would only be a guidance tool. But what's in their about section? Is it first person, which is the rule, not third person when they're writing in the about and experience sections? In your contact information. Many lawyers are horrified when I point out to them that their personal email is showing their Gmail, their Yahoo or something, because they haven't set it up to have it on there. It's thinking about what are you showing to the outside world. It's that, and even if you don't want to engage on LinkedIn, just it's vital that first impression. It's your website bio. I think it's far more than your website bio because you can add video, with this featured option, you can highlight the posts. It's so amazing the different forms of media you can use on LinkedIn. But also, I think as a lawyer, again, thinking about how I was growing my contentious probate practice, was that I was thinking about who could give me work. So I kind of thought of what I call my before partners and my after partners in terms of who would be involved with a client before and after me, who would give me more, because a client is just potentially one piece of
Mhm.
work. I ideally want to find referrers. So it's using And people manage their own LinkedIn profile. So generally you're talking to that person. Whereas on Instagram or some other, they could be managed by the marketing or PA team, etc. So you are actually interacting with that person. So I would advise thinking, well, is it financial advisors? Is it accountants? Is it, counselors? Is it going to be, where are the people who are going to be before me? Because they're, if you can get connected with them and get their trust, then they will make what we call warm referrals. It's somebody else opening the door and saying, you need to go to see Adam, you need to go and see Rachel. That for me is incredibly valuable. And yes, it takes time, which is money, but when you've got those referral relationships well established, it can really build and boost your practice. So I think, and somebody said to me, it's not about the number of LinkedIn connections, that can help. It's about the quality. And people would say to me, oh, well, you haven't got necessarily X amount of likes compared to so and so. Well, actually, the magic is what happens in your inbox. It's what's happening behind the scenes. If you're getting people contacting you because of what they've seen and learnt about you, then that's a game changer.
You know, that's so helpful in terms of reverse engineering those posts to focus on, well, who are going to be my referrers? And rather
Mhm.
than just going for hundreds of random likes, a couple of people who then reach out to you and it creates that relationship, it is so helpful. The other thing that seems to be popular, and I'm often asked to do references for, is like legal directories for somebody to get a legal directory, or there seems to be winning awards. What are the benefits of these? Are there things individual lawyers, firms should be doing in that space? Because that seems to be quite an active space at the moment.
Huge benefits. I've been incredibly successful with a number of clients, touching wood, very successful in getting them that. But of course, I need the story behind it. What we do is we develop that story. We put it into a storytelling way. I think it enhance what it has secured is more publicity. Before that, many clients were like a hidden gem. They were there. They did amazing things for their community, or they did amazing, involved in many environmental projects or great case studies, clients, but they weren't being told. Their stories were not being told. Those awards can shine and highlight and make other firms or people think, well, hang on a minute, they're a great firm. We should be working with them. So you can ride that kind of wave in terms of publicity on both of those. I do know that that directories can produce quite strong reactions as to whether or not you're in them, but I think it's better to be in than out. Even and they need considered effort. Things that I've seen from the directories is you have to bear in mind that there are many young individuals that they often get quite young researchers, etc. And you need to really feed them. You need to feed them the story and tell them about the case. Those things are vital. I think often errors I see in directories is not being correctly formatted, not giving the right information, being too basic, and referees. I mean, you have to, 40% of it can be your referees. If you are not preparing your referees, then it's prepared to fail, unfortunately. And that's something you need to, hopefully, you've got that. You've got those clients who think you're amazing and they'll want to take in part on that. But making them aware, well, now it's time. It might go in your spam box, keep a hold. I know that they're doing the research period now, etc. But the awards also boost team morale. So
Mhm.
it's a lovely event to go to when you're recognizing one of your team, or it's a group effort. So it's not just the external, it's the internal point. Many law firms struggle with recruitment, and if you've won within your team a number of awards or even just one award, that can really strengthen your recruitment position.
No, that's so helpful, the internal aspect, that it's not just for external validation, but building up that spirit within the team of even being nominated for something and being able to all dress up, go out together, probably post millions of photos as well. But yeah, no, that's really helpful. perhaps I'm going to sound like a dinosaur now, but I suppose my best legal marketing as a barrister has probably been creating an email list and then regularly sending legal updates. Obviously, I practice in a very fast-moving area of law like immigration, so that's something relatively easy. Do you think there's still a place for email lists within legal marketing? Perhaps wider than just barristers now in terms of firms. What's the place for? Does email still live in the marketing world?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think again, it's about you have to show that you are the expert in that field. And many law firms aren't engaging. So often one of those things saying you need to build your email list. There aren't many unsubscribes that I see from law firm marketing lists. So they can, you're using the right tools, they can choose to unsubscribe, but you're coming into their inbox on whatever basis you choose. And as long as you're giving them useful, interesting legal news, then you'll find that you can build that. It's part of building that know, like, and trust factor. It's one of the cogs that I call important in a thorough law firm marketing strategy on there. It's sometimes it's you can measure if you were doing something, I don't know, like a particular campaign, and you can look at the click-throughs and then you could choose to engage with them further. So that you can do that. But if you don't have things like that, if you're not measuring what people are engaging with, it's not got to be the open rate. What are they finding interesting? If you see a particular news story that they're engaging with, you'll know to do more of. But yes, I'd email's not dead. It's absolutely alive. Lots of guides, lots of downloads, and like you probably do. You probably using video in your email. It doesn't have to be a long, lengthy. In fact, small, sharp, punchy bit of news, bit of one article doesn't have to be 4 articles a month or something like that. But yes, it's a vital part of staying in touch, because you might have an engagement with one client, and then it might be a while before they need you again. Or better still, you're on the forefront of their mind because they'll recommend you. So I think it's for so many reasons, keeping in front of their mind, but also ensuring they refer you because they know you as the expert.
Yeah, being front of mind so important, and just that short digest of something new, just so they can quickly get a hold of it. That's so helpful. Rachel, before I sort of ask about how people can reach out to you and work with you, is there anything you want to leave with us today? Any practical suggestions? Anything you want to get off your chest? Feel free. The floor is yours and stuff. But anything, yeah, just any practical suggestions or any challenges you've come across. But feel free.
I think one thing I'd encourage all lawyers to have a look at is their website again, because particularly since COVID, it's the virtual front door. It is most important thing as to how you're putting your presentation of yourself, your team, and your firm. Review it. I'd say review it every quarter because terminology can change, updates can, you can't risk being outdated in terms of the law. There's compliance to think about as well. And we know that the SRA do have times and they have a look and check that you've got clear, transparent pricing on there. You're at risk of a fine. So I think, one big thing for me, I go, ugh, as soon as I look at a law firm's website is the welcome to. I'm like, it's just like it's a doormat and I'm entering your website, but tell me why. Tell me why, and not how many years experience. Tell me how you're going to solve my problems. How come I can work with you rather than using a lot of we, turn it around and use it I. I think there should be more client-centric copy being used. The clever law firms have adapted to that. And, you know, show photographs that resonate with your clients, that photos of you, your people. You're not Tiffany watch or jewelry, you're people. And that's what your clients like to engage with. They are investing in you.
Absolutely. That client centric and relationship between the lawyer and the client, yeah, so important. And to dust off those websites, some of them you'll still click on and they'll tell you about COVID. You think, well, you haven't looked at this since 2020, so Rachel, there's so much practical you've told us today, really helpful. I'm sure there may be people thinking, oh, well, what services does Rachel offer? How do I reach out to her? How can we work together? Yeah, let people know, and the best way to contact you, of course, as ever, details will be below the video of how you can contact Rachel and Orion Legal Marketing. But Rachel, how can people work with you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. As you know, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, so definitely connect with me there. Go onto our website of Orion Legal Marketing, phone or email. Pick up the phone. I'm happy to have a chat, free consultation and have a chat and see if there's ways of working together. I believe no conversation is probably wasted time. Again, it's you showing your expertise and helping something. I'm a great believer of what goes around comes around on there. But we are a full service legal marketing agency, offering everything from graphic design, websites, search engine optimization, Google Ads, directories, you name it. We have a very good team that I've invested in to secure my clients' success.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. If there's any barristers watching, I'd encourage you to Google's Rachel's name and her article in Counsel magazine, I think from 2024, particularly on how barristers can use LinkedIn, especially the importance of not being beige. That stuck out to me, Rachel. So, yeah, we're not going to be beige in our marketing. But thank you so much for joining me today. Real privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.